the sharing of my presentation. Um, First, I'd like to start by thanking you for giving me this opportunity to share my, which is now, as you will see in short time, almost a lifelong research project, because it has been going on for now more than 30 years. So uh, in this webinar presentation, I will give you, these are the main points I want to uh, explain or present to you, and we can discuss them later. First, I will give a short review of my longitudinal qualitative research, in which I apply something which I call biography backwards method. Then I will shortly discuss the benefits of integrating the approach I'm using, which I call social biography, and life course approach, which is more or less familiar to all of us. And then I would like to discuss about how studies or research of transnational families could benefit from applying this approach and the method. And and finally, something still in kind of framework, but I'm really looking forward to it because they apply to short-term scientific mission with small-scale study, and I intend to do that during the first half of July. So hopefully in some um, period in the future, I could give you a webinar about the results of that small-scale study. Uh, um, I have started this research of mine, which is now became a longitudinal qualitative research in 1993 as cross-sectional research based on structured and semi-structured interviews in two contrasting urban settings, a working class suburban area and an area in central Belgrade. The research was not designed as longitudinal from the beginning, but the changing social context in Serbian society provoked the development of longitudinal study that was flexible and contingent. The longitudinal study was carried out in 4 waves every 7 years since 1993. And in 1993, those 20 children were age of from 4 to 7. And in the last wave, 2014, there were 24 young adults aged 24 to 28. I have to add here that I have started the 5th wave uh, um, after 10 years because I couldn't do it for various reasons in 2021. And I already interviewed 4 of my respondents. I don't intend to interview all 20 of them, but those whose biographies were presented in my latest book published in 2021. So I'm using something which is called which I call the not me solely, but researchers in this area called biography backwards method, which is reconstructing 7 years long sequences through semi-structured interviews. And those interviews encompass the same themes in each research wave. Uh, those semi-structured interviews that I used particularly in the last wave, but the topics were followed in each of the 4 four research waves were education, work, housing, family, and social relations. And lately, of course, we did the rising or growing age of the respondents, their emotional life. And my in the first three research waves, when there were children were 4 to 7, 11 to 14, and 17 to 21. My respondents, I also interviewed their parents separately, but in pairs when possible. And my main respondent, younger girls and boys, then young women and young men separately. But in the last research wave, I only interviewed those my main respondents. Their parents were not um, relevant informant, in my opinion. No, I'm joking, but I interviewed only my respondents who were, as I said, 24 to 28 age then. And so I asked them, say in the last interview, I asked them to that we together reconstruct the 7 years of their life since the last interview, and we talk about education, material situation, work, housing, emotional relations, leisure time, social contacts and networks, family relations, and then also we talk about their emotional life during that time. And I especially insist on their reflections and feelings about all these areas in their lives at the moment of the interview. In the last two research waves, I also applied, which is called, which Janet Thompson and Janet Holland and Rachel Thompson call a lifeline, but I think it more accurate is a future lifetime line, a tool where they try to imagine what would be the possible situation in 7 years in different ages in different areas of their life. Uh, Main areas: education, work, housing, and personal relations. So it prompts them to imagine adulthood in some way, to talk about their aspirations, hopes, and plans for the future. Therefore, in those interviews, I through this kind of biography backwards interview, and not just biography backwards, but this kind of interview, um, I'm linking actually their past, their present, and future per, perceptions of the future in the same interview. So when in analyzing, I take two kinds of twofold comparison approach. Uh, or I do synchronic cross-sectional comparison of all above the mentioned topics, say education across the case studies, and the all of the topics, and I do diachronic comparison, which is analyzing the topic within a particular biography in time perspective, so I can interpret changing meaning and significant in different life stages of that particular topic or theme in their in different life stages that comprise complex biographical sequences. So this is a very short overview of the method. So just shortly to state that I employ something which I name social biography approach, which is reconstructing biographical periods in person's life course from early childhood to young adulthood. In addition to this method, I use social biography as a conceptual framework for the study in order to explore the complex interrelations between structure, agency, and identity in time perspective. This approach assumes that social biographies are formed through processes whereby the individual shapes her biography in relation to the social context, its structural features, which could be enabling or restricting the resource, or both at the same time, resources available to the respondent, their agency, and their personal identity. So this is a very complex contextual matrix for interpreting biographies. And I realized that there's lots of benefits of integrating social biography and life course approach, which is something which is called bringing life back to life course, and this is a qualitative life course approach, and especially I pay attention to some, of course, this institutional and structural frameworks in different life stages, how the person interprets them, how they take actions, or how they act upon those with making decisions and making choices in different life areas. But I also put a lot of attention and stress to feelings, as I said before, and personal feelings about these interpretations and within their reflections, and particularly to the one of the principles of the life course approach, which is the so-called linked life principle. That assumes that in different life stages, our social relationships and networks contribute to shaping biographies, or simply put, they significant others impact our decisions in some turning points in our lives. So since I didn't do any research on transnational families, I tried to I was contemplating or reflecting and contemplating about the benefits of applying to this approach and method to transnational family studies. And that will be one of the first aim of my future research, and especially, as I said, this linked life principle, to explore the impact of family relations on making plans and decisions and taking actions related to labor migration among people of different age in different life stages. And I think that this would provide a novel perspective to the study on transnational families, because it would shed light to this impact of so-called significant others on decisions about whether to emigrate, how long to stay, or whether to return to the homeland. And the other goals are related to the other aims of this cost action, is how to explore through the interview how transnational families are maintained through long-distance communication and family care practices, particularly those are associated with transition to adulthood, parenting, grandparenting, and care for elderly. And also, the aim is to explore different meanings that actors at different life stages attach to the notion of transnational family. So I proposed to the board, and I'm pleased that I got this short-term scientific mission. In order to apply this approach, I have designed a small-scale research framework. I'm currently looking for the respondents of different life stages for respondents. So there will be one of them would be young single adult whose parental family is still in Serbia. Then the other would be young parent with children in Iceland and their parents in Serbia. The third would be middle-aged respondent with a spouse and children in Serbia. And the fourth one would be middle-aged single respondent with elderly parents in Serbia. So I can explore different practices of care and therefore maintaining transnational families through communication and care practices, and also to explore what are the different meanings that actors at different life stages, the one I mentioned in my small scale sample, attached to the notion of transnational families, and also, as I said, practices. And in order to do that, the first step would be prior to going to so-called field study, and during my short visit, which is only 10 days in Reykjavik, I will explore the influence of public policy framework, or actually I will do desk analysis of public policy framework in Iceland, which is relevant to labor immigrants and their families. And my collaborator in Reykjavik would be our colleague Anna Wojcinska, who teaches at the University of Iceland in Reykjavik. That would be all. I think I extended 15 minutes, but it was really short.
No. You were just on time. Thank you
Okay,
so much, and it
okay.
was really interesting to listen your this very this study. Your work has been going on quite a long time, from 1993. I really would love to hear your experiences at the end as well, and I'm sure there will be questions and comments at the end. So thank you very much once again, Smiljka. Now we can move forward to our